Business One. Can you see this okay, Peter?
Yes, yep, perfect.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, well, I'm glad everyone's here and able to see Business One. The unique thing about Business One is that it's very tailorable on a user-by-user basis. So first off, a user is only going to see the things that you've given them access to see, and that rings true in their home cockpit. When they log in, they'll only see the business process flows, the buttons that they can push, the alerts and KPIs, key performance indicators, the individual dashboards, and all of the attributes are completely controlled by user security. And so a user will only see the things that they see. And the concept of the cockpit is designed to give a user a 360-degree view of their role in the business. And it's a lot like walking up to an ATM machine. It's really that easy to use. There's no ATM training you go through to use your bank card. It's just that intuitive. In Business One is really the same approach. I've got a graphical view of my business process that I'm involved in, the buttons that I can push, messages from the bank, and so forth. So it's, again, a very user-friendly system. The cockpit itself, it's made up of several different types of widgets. And so if I hit my pencil icon here, this takes me into designer mode, where I can drag and drop and I can move these things around and add additional widgets into my desktop. And so if I hit the plus icon, you can see here that the selection of widgets, it's narrowed down to about a half a dozen choices. I can look at just dashboards, and the system itself comes with probably 50 plus dashboards, and the ability to create your own. Same with the key performance indicators, business count objects, workbenches, and other types of widgets. And it's real easy to add something. You just click on the plus and it'll add it right into your cockpit. So it's very easy to get that look and feel that a user wants. It's very easy to put everything that user needs right there in front of them to be most effective at their role in the company. So I want to talk a little bit about some of these widgets in a little more detail. The first one here is the sales process workbench. And so now this is completely tailorable. This is what it looks like out of the box. But if you, for example, if you don't do returns, this doesn't have to exist on the flow. So most commonly, we might start with a quote and then turn that into a sales order. We ship the products, we invoice it, and we process the incoming payment. And along the way, there may be reports or inquiries that we want to run, like what are my open quotes, and so forth.